What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your market expert here in Charlotte. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel and happy December. And it is December 1st and it is the first Friday of the month. So we got lucky. So it's time for our live Q&A session all about living in Charlotte, the Charlotte real estate, the suburbs, neighborhoods, any type of questions you guys can possibly think of. And again, we do this every first Thursday of the month. Make sure you follow my Instagram page, QC Home Group, as I announce it the day of, just to give you a little bit of a heads up. But if you happen to miss this live, feel free to leave me a question in the comments down below. I'll make sure to answer it the next time I go live. And/or, as you guys all already know, call, text, or email me anytime. All my contact information is right here, and it's also linked down below. I'd love to answer any of your questions personally or whatever the case is and chat a little bit more. Sorry about this little ambiance. I was locked out of one of the offices over here. It seems like we're starting to lock all the doors now. So we're having this little bit of a background, but I kind of like it. It's a lot going on back there, but it's cool. But I hope everybody's doing well. And the holiday season, man, it's so interesting. Things tend to slow down quite a bit, even with like the new listings and things like that during the holidays. But so what I'm essentially gonna do, if you're coming in right now, if you're watching, just drop any type of question. I'll definitely get to it. But until then, I want to answer some of the questions that were posted in the comments of the last Q&A that I did. So we'll kind of start with there. So Chris Velez, what's up, man? He says, hey, Sasha, Chris from New York here. Have you been seeing buyers fall out of contract / not get to closing due to rising interest rate? So this is an extremely good question. And to answer this, no. The only time you really see buyers falling out of contract due to the rising interest rate is if you're purchasing a new construction home and you put it under contract 6 months, 8 months, a year ago. So that way, if you didn't lock your rate, obviously you're kind of vulnerable to the changing interest rates on daily. But if you're buying a home that is essentially a resale, that's not a new construction, typically when you get it under contract, which means your offer has been accepted and you have a closing date, you're typically closing within 30 days. At the max, you're probably looking at about 45 or 60, but 90% plus of contracts are going to be 30 days or shorter. So typically, once you get something under contract, the contract gets sent over to the lender, and then the lender locks in the best rate that they can get, or you have the option to wait. But if you do wait, unfortunately, you can't go back and take the lower rate if the interest rates end up going up even higher. So most of the time, once you get a contract, the lender will lock in your rate at that time, and that doesn't give enough time for you to kind of fall out of contract during the rising rates, because you'll know exactly what your monthly payment is going to be, the taxes, and your rate. Surreal Innovation, the prices in the desirable areas in Charlotte match prices in the DC area. They're ridiculous. We actually took Charlotte off our list for a while because of it. So this is pretty interesting. My brother is actually a realtor in the DC area, and yes and no. So my brother lives in an area, it's called Petworth. So if you're in DC, you might be familiar with it, but I know the houses over there are, very close to $1 million, 800,000+, close to $1 million, depending on the condition. And obviously, if you're talking about the best of the best areas that Charlotte has to offer, if you're talking about the Myers Parks, the Dilworths, near Freedom Park, South End, Cherryville, Elizabeth, if you're talking about South Park, if you're talking about those areas, yes, those areas, the prices are a lot. But in general, if you kind of compare DC to Charlotte, I think DC is a lot less affordable for kind of what you get. But again, if you are looking at kind of the cream of the crop areas here, the highly desirable areas in Charlotte, they're definitely comparable with some of the DC prices. But then again, it's a little different. I know DC has a lot of row homes that are in the multi-million dollars, and a row home is essentially a townhome. But here, for the same price, if you were looking at a row home in one of the best areas in DC, you're probably looking at about 1.5 million, maybe to 2 million. for that same price point here in Charlotte, I mean, you're gonna get a you're going to get an amazing house. You're going to be on a quarter acre plus, and it's just a little bit different than a row home, but it all kind of depends. Okay, next question from Robert Brown. Hey Sasha, with winter being historically slow, you see any potential good deals to be had in December? Yes. Robert, there are a lot of good deals to be had. Now, again, that's going to depend also on your definition of what a good deal is. I know certain investors that have very kind of strict deal guidelines and they have to hit their numbers, otherwise they won't pursue it. But again, that all depends on kind of what your, what your assessment or what your definition of a deal is. But I'll tell you right now, 100% yes. Right now, I just got my last buyers under contract, but right now I've been doing some negotiating on a property that was listed at 515. They've already done 2 price decreases, and right now they're at 450. I reached out to the agent, and based off the conversation, it's looking like they'll probably let it go for right around $400,000, which is a $50,000 decrease from the current listed price that it's listed to today. If you went online right now, you would see this house today, and I'm telling you right now, you can get it for around 400,000. But I'm keeping that a little bit of a secret because I have someone that I think is gonna like this property. I'm just kind of waiting for them to get into town, and we'll kind of go from there. But 100%, there are a ton of deals to be had out there, especially now. And I think it's going to kind of continue to kind of be this way for the next, 1 to 2 years. Obviously, you have a little bit of more of a dip during November, December, just because there's a lot less buyers out there that you need to compete with, and a lot more sellers are willing to work as this time around. I've even seen some listings where sellers are withdrawing their houses off the market and then planning on putting them back on the market around spring and summertime. So if you're able to get in there right now in December, January, it's still a very good possibility you can get a deal for some of those people that are thinking, why would I withdraw my property if I can get, a reasonable price right now? And a lot of stuff is being priced a lot more normal now. We're still not there where everybody's on the same page, but a lot of the stuff that I'm starting to see now, at least half, is starting to be priced where it should be. And where it should be is a decent amount less than it was 8-10 months ago. Jeff Dean, it seems like home rental corporations were driving prices up for a while by reducing the available inventory. Is that situation cooling off? So Jeff, 100%. The institutional buyers like Zillow, like Opendoor, like OfferPad, like Redfin, they're all like pulling out. They really all are starting to pull out. So there's a lot less, big corporations, big rental companies buying up these properties, taking these properties away from people like they did during the crazy market. So it's definitely starting to cool off. I recently did read an article that JP Morgan is looking to spend about $1 billion, I believe, in 2023 accumulating real estate. And they will be the ones that are gonna, buy and rent out. But as of right now, a lot of the big players, the Zillows, the Redfins, the Opendoor, the OfferPad, they're out of the game. So I haven't personally seen any competition with, big rental companies coming in and beating out other buyers' offers. As of right now, I don't think they'll be back. But like I said, I did read that article. But that's just something we'll have to kind of keep our eyes on. I think there's too much turmoil. I think there's too much stuff going on in the economy right now, and I think they're going to take a break. I think all those big corporations that were buying those houses up and, renting them out, I think they're going to take a break for the next 2 years, and then they'll probably come back in about 3 years and start buying stuff up again once kind of all the dust settles, once we get the inflation under control, and things like that. So I just got a question here. Let me see. Guys, drop any and all questions. I'm happy to answer anything you got for me. David Reimer, what's up, man? Love the channel. What's your thoughts on Mount Holly area? Considering that area as it would be close to my job if we make the move out there. Thanks, David. What's up, buddy? I don't think we've spoken before, but obviously feel free to reach out to me. Great question. I like the Mount Holly area. Mount Holly and Belmont are areas that we're seeing a ton of growth in. Belmont a little bit more so, just because the new light rail that it's still far away. It's about 10 to 15 years away, but all that stuff is kind of getting placed into where the Belmont area is. And just outside of Belmont, you have Mount Holly, which also has lake access. There's a couple condo buildings, apartment buildings that provide lake access to all the people that live there. But I like it. It's a small, quiet area. You can get a decent amount of land on your house over there, and the proximity to Charlotte is, I mean, it's very close. It's just west of Charlotte. Your drive to the airport is probably going to be roughly about 20 minutes or so, and to Center City, Uptown Charlotte, roughly the same thing, 20 to 30 minutes from Mount Holly. I will say it just kind of depends on what you're into, man. If you're okay with kind of a smaller town feel, Mount Holly is great. If you want something a little bit more upbeat with a little bit more going on, I'd probably recommend Belmont maybe. It sounds like you might have not visited the area, but Mount Holly is a cool area. I like it. I see the potential in growth that will happen over in that area for sure. As of right now, it's one of those areas that's still, people know about it, but they still keep it quiet. But it's definitely a great area to look into. So one of the questions from Roberta was, everything is way overpriced. Hardly anyone is buying except investors. Roberta, I appreciate the comment. I'll tell you, that's definitely not true. I know from the people I work with and, kind of the agents in my office and stuff that people are buying. I would honestly say right now, it's comparing it to 10 months ago, right now is better time to buy. Some of these prices and things like that I'm negotiating with is just, it's pretty amazing. So there's a lot of good opportunities. In fact, you said everything is overpriced. Hardly anyone is buying except for investors. A lot of investors are actually sitting on the sideline, depending on what type of investor they are. If they're a fix and flip, they're definitely sitting on the sideline because the flip isn't that easy. It used to be, hey, let me buy this house, let me renovate it, and let me put it back on the market and let me get 20 offers on it. Now it's not the case. A lot of these investor properties are sitting because you had a lot of amateur investors that really didn't know what they were doing. They just got lucky and got caught in a really good market, so they were able to make some money and get out unscathed. But the ones that think they can still do that right now, it's a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake. So the fix and flip investors are slowing down a ton. The buy and hold investors, they don't care because they're going to hold for 10, 20, 30 years. So they really don't care about the prices right now. And they're the ones that are buying right now that are looking for these turnkey properties. And it depends on what type of investor you are. A lot of people that have full-time jobs that are too busy, that can't go out and hunt down deals, call people, door knock homes, and things like that. They're the ones that are buying these turnkey properties. So they're the ones that are going online, looking at whatever website you guys use. Let's use realtor.com. They're going on realtor.com, putting in what they're looking for. Normally, an investor is going to look for a three bed, 2.5 bath in a decent area where the rent can cover the mortgage, and they're seeing what's sitting. So if they see a house that's sitting for 30, 60, 90 days plus that looks like it's in decent shape, that's not a complete gut, which they can go into, just paint, replace the carpets, maybe replace the hardwoods, they can keep the bathroom the same. They're buying that stuff up and they're getting, it's negotiable. So they're getting 30, 40, 50,000 plus dollars off. So it's worthwhile for them. But I don't agree. There's still a ton of people buying out there, I promise you. Speaking of investors, Riordo Investing commented, what do you think about the Noda Plaza Midwood market? Still lots of demand or weakening? Lots of demand. The in-demand areas will always be in demand up to a certain extent, and that's especially true with Plaza Midwood and Noda. They're very trendy areas. People seem to love them. They're not up to par with some of kind of like the higher end areas like Myers Park, South Park, for example. There's a ton of others that we have, but they're great areas. I personally love Plaza Midwood and Noda. So I do hope we see a little bit of a price decrease so I can, buy a home there, my personal home and or one of my investment properties that I can buy there and hold for another, 15 to 20 years or so. But the demand is not weakening. The demand is weakening for overpriced properties, and that is as clear as day. All the houses that you guys are seeing that are sitting for a long time, 60 plus days, are overpriced. At the end of the day, that's just a matter of fact. There's a ton of properties that come on the market that I personally just keep my eye on and see what they do. And like, I'm not always right, but some of the stuff I'll see come on the market and I'll say, damn, that's actually a good price. That's actually a good price. And sure enough, within 7 days, it'll sell. The stuff that you're seeing that I'll personally see and I'll say, oh my God, it's literally overpriced by 100 grand. Those houses are sitting on the market for 30 days. Here comes a $25,000 price decrease. 60 days, here comes a $15,000 price decrease. Another 30 days, here comes a $25,000 price decrease. And eventually, I've seen a handful of properties come down over $100,000 in the last 4 months. Some of them are still sitting on the market with no activity, but they should have priced it right from the beginning. So, the demand is obviously weakening for the prices for the homes that are overpriced because they should be priced right accordingly. But in regards to your question about Noda and Plaza Midwood, the demand is still there for reasonably priced properties, and I think it's definitely going to stay there, just depending on exactly where you are. I appreciate the question though. And for the 5 of you watching, please do me a favor, just hit that like button for me. Make sure you're subscribed and drop me any and all questions kind of down below. I like this question. So Devin M said, do you really think some of the 400K townhomes in Mecklenburg and Cabarrus could see a 50K to 100K reduction down to low 300K in 2023? I mean, that would be a dream to me as someone looking in 2024 or 2025. So Devin, great question. And yes, I do see that happening. I've said this a lot. I see the prices coming down 10 to 20%. So if let's use 25% as an example, if the median price point is 400,000 and they come down 25%, then you're at 300,000. So with a 20% decrease, if we hit the max of what I think we potentially could, yeah, we're looking in that low 300 in the 325 range. Now, Devin, so you said townhomes in Mecklenburg and Cabarrus. For those of you that don't know, Cabarrus is essentially Concord. It's Concord and Kannapolis that are in Cabarrus County. So, and townhomes are priced lower than single family homes. You might need only, a 10 to 15 10 to 15% price decrease in Cabarrus County, because the townhouses in Cabarrus, like Concord and things like that, are priced cheaper than the ones that are in Mecklenburg County. Obviously, it depends on the location, but 100%, I think we will see that 10 to 20% decrease. And, I think those houses that were at the peak that are around like 400,000, I think they'll be coming back down into the low 300s or so. And obviously that is just going to depend, on the house itself, on the location itself, and all those other factors. Kathy Arias, why are new builds taxed so much higher than houses 5 to 10 years old in the same area in North Carolina? So very good question. This is going to depend exactly what area you're talking about, but the reason you might see newer construction taxed at a higher rate than resale homes, in the area that were built maybe 5 to 10 years ago, is because the newer construction, the assessment was done more recently. So it's possible that the area, a mile away, the property taxes haven't been assessed for 5 years. So the values on their taxes are from 5 years ago. Whereas if they assess the value on the new construction, it's in today's value. So that's why the taxes can sometimes be higher for new construction versus resale. Now, those other properties that are at a little bit of a lower tax rate, they're going to get up there. Once they do another tax assessment, the taxes are going to go up on those ones, but that's generally why you'll see new construction taxes higher than resales, just because it's newer, they know the price, and they'll come out and they'll assess it. They'll say, hey, all these houses here sold for 600,000. The tax value, we're going to put it at 500,000, and that's what they're going to, that's what the county's going to kind of tax you as. Great question though. But to be honest with you, I haven't seen a lot of that. I'd be curious to know what neighborhood or what area you're kind of thinking about that has happened. So a lot of the times, with new construction, people will get taxed on the land value, which could be like $40,000 or $50,000. So your first year of like a new construction ownership could be extremely cheap, and then the next year they actually assess the value, and then it jumps up to almost like 4 or 5 times what you were paying. So you can kind of get away with it. Kathy, I was looking in Monroe and Marshville. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening over there. I haven't ran into it too much in kind of in the Charlotte area. I haven't seen it too much like in Waxhaw, Wesley Chapel, Marvin, and stuff like that. But I can see them doing that over there in that area for sure. Rocker commented, is there places to go hiking? How far away are the mountains? So, my friend, I am not I am not a hiker or anything like that. I want to say the closest place to actually, if you want to go on a real hike, if you want to like a real mountain, I think it's going to be Crowder's Mountain and then Grandfather's Mountain, which are about 45 minutes away from Charlotte. Obviously, depending on where you are. If you're on the west side, you'll probably be closer. But Crowder's Mountain and Grandfather Mountain are probably going to be the closest for hiking. But if you like to do outdoorsy stuff and things like that, you have the Whitewater Center, which you do have hiking trails, but they're not like extreme like you would have at the other places that I just mentioned. But you have mountain biking, whitewater rafting, rock climbing, zip lining, obstacle courses, paddle boarding, kayaking. You got a ton of stuff to do there. So if you're an outdoorsy person in Charlotte, go to the National Whitewater Center. Do yourself a favor, just buy a yearly pass, and you get like literally all the activities for free. Not for free because you pay for it, but you can do all the activities year round. So if you're an active person, I mean, it's an amazing place. It's a really cool place to spend some time. Christine Lee, hello. How much bargaining power does a cash buyer have in the recent market? Thank you. So Christine, good news is everybody essentially has a lot of, buying power or bargaining power, as you'd kind of call it right now. Like I said, the market's done almost a complete flip from what we've seen in, 8+ months ago. But as a cash buyer, you still have a little bit more, but honestly, it's pretty similar. If somebody's looking for a quick close and, a quote unquote guaranteed close, if they don't want to have to worry about, the home appraising or something like that, you have a good amount of negotiating power. But I'm not going to say it's night and day. If we were talking about 12 months ago, you had a good amount of negotiating power because, you were a cash buyer. You weren't having to deal with somebody for a loan and things like that. But right now, whether you're doing a loan, whether you're doing cash, you have a lot of bargaining power. But cash is always king. You're always going to have a little bit of an upper edge. I just wouldn't say there's a huge discrepancy between the two. Cindy K, since the housing market has changed in Charlotte, are sellers or builders accepting contingencies on the sale of their current house? Cindy, very good question. Very good question. Yes, they are. So before You know this, Cindy. It sounds like you might have been in the market during this time. There's not a chance. If you had to put your house contingent on a house that had 20, 30 offers, there's literally like almost 0% chance that your offer will get accepted. Now sellers are a lot more open to the idea if you have a house that you need to sell. Now there is a caveat. What's the situation? Because it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yes, you can get an offer accepted for a new house that you want to buy with you needing to sell your house, but because of that, obviously the market has slowed down a little bit. So now you selling your house might take a little bit longer. So it depends. I would recommend to put you in the best position possible if you need to sell a house in order to buy your new home. I would get that home under contract first. So your existing home, I would get it under contract. That means you have an acceptable offer and then start shopping around. If your house is on the market, they're going to ask for that stuff. Hey, thank you for your offer. It's a great offer. We'd like to accept it, but tell us about this contingency you have. Is your house already on the market? Is it already under contract? If not, how long has it been on the market? How has the activity been on the house? Do you plan on doing a price decrease to get it sold? Because obviously a seller isn't going to want to accept an offer if it's, hey, we're going to close in 60 days. It's contingent on my house, but my house has been sitting on the market for 60 days. Then the seller's like, well, damn, I mean, how do I know you're going to close on this house if your house has been sitting on the market already for X amount of time? So that's where it kind of comes in as far as, do everything you can to get your house under contract and then kind of try to go out there and look for a house, because you don't want to be put in a situation where you're under contract for a new home, closings in 60 days, your house is still on the market, but you have to sell your house in order to buy the new one. Then 30 days later, still no activity, you're kind of creeping up on the deadline. Then you have to ask the other seller, hey, would you mind doing an extension? So it can get a little bit dicey there. So I would recommend get your house on the market, price it accordingly, price it where it will sell. There's always three prices. There's a price where it will sell now, there's a price where it will sell within 30 to 60 days, and then there's the dreamer price where you still put it on the market extremely high and you just wait, and you have the luxury of being able to wait. But honestly, the best option is usually to price it accordingly right out of the gate. That way you can kind of move on with what you're looking to do. I know that was a little bit of a handful, but as long as you get a good agent, listen, I'd love to help you. I don't know your situation or anything like that. There are so many good agents out there. It doesn't have to be me. If you know somebody else, your past agent, whatever the case is, if they're a good agent, they'll tell you how to line it up correctly to place you in the best position possible to make everything work. That is an extremely long answer, but to put it short, get your existing house under contract right now, and you'll be a lot better in the long run for your next house. 8 people in here, guys. Come on, give me some questions. Cindy, excellent advice. Thanks, Sasha. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Best of luck to you with that. If you should have any other questions, you know my slogan by now. Call, text, email me anytime. I'd love to, help you. But yeah, definitely do that. Any other questions, guys, please not log in, but go ahead. Feel free to type it in the comments. But yeah, in the other live, before I went mute, there was a house that I've been keeping my eye on, and I happened to reach out to the agent. It was originally listed at $515, and they've done a price decrease to about $450 right now. And I spoke to the agent because I think I might know somebody, an investor actually, that might be interested, and it's possible that we might be able to do something around $400,000. So I can't use my calculator right now because I'm on my phone, but I mean, from 450 to 400,000, I don't know what percentage of a price decrease that is, but that's a pretty good percentage of a price decrease. So this is a really good question from Gregory Bernard. What is a price per square foot that is priced good right now for Charlotte? People, my friends, forget about price per square foot. I know people watch, the real estate shows and things like that, and a lot of places use price per square foot. Do not use price per square foot as a pricing. The only time you can essentially use price per square foot is if you are, in a. Can you guys hear me? I kind of went blank for just a second. So the only time you can use price per square foot essentially is if you're in a townhouse or a condo and you have an identical floor plan, an identical floor plan. And even then, you still can't use the price per square foot because what if your townhouse or condo, they were obviously both built the same year, but yours is all original and everything was built in the year 2000, and then your neighbor just did a complete gut job and, renovated everything. It's a totally different price. I'll never use price per square foot, and especially when it comes to houses. No two houses are the same. It doesn't matter if they're side by side. No two homes are the same, and they never will be. I've literally seen houses right next to each other in new construction communities where one house is on a perfect lot, beautiful, nice, flat, and then the house right next to it has a lot that slopes, is extremely not usable, and things like that. So price per square foot, I don't recommend using that at all unless you are in a condo or a townhouse with an identical, layout or something like that, and or you're looking at new construction. But like I said, even new construction can be different just because of where you are and your lot size. Lot size has a lot to do with it. We got 10 people on here, guys. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and do me a favor. Any and all questions, go ahead and drop them in here. Well, I'm probably going to stay on for another, I'm not going to say as long as you need me, but a solid, 20 to 30 minutes. But if I get a lot of questions rolling in, I'll make sure to answer it for you. Robert Brown, you had asked me a question on my last live, and I answered it on here. So that'll be on there for you. But here we go. Robert Brown, do you find that sellers in good school districts wait till summer for the school year to end to sell? Very good question. A good amount do. I'm not going to say all of them, because if you look right now, if you go where to, wherever the school district that you kind of want to be in, there's going to be houses for sale. Right now, specifically November, December, that tends to slow down a lot. To answer your question, I hate saying it like this. I'd like to give you a straight answer. I want to say it's like 50-50. But honestly, it's a good amount due. But, spring and summertime is obviously when we get the most influx of new listings, which means, a lot more inventory for the buyers out there. So that's kind of why it may seem like that. But most of the time, when somebody needs to move, if somebody needs to move, they do it when they need to do it on their timeline. So like I said, right now, if you go online, whatever school district you're looking for, you're going to see houses for sale because, people want to sell and they're going to get it sold at that time. I hate giving you that answer, but it is the best one I can give you, my friend. But I would say that's definitely a good reason why people do, wait until spring/summer to kind of list their houses. And that's why summer is kind of the buying market. But Robert, in regards to your question, man, just reach out to me. I'll help you in any way I possibly can, to kind of dial it in a little bit better for you. But I definitely do think we're going to have those opportunities coming spring and summer of 23. Because like I said in the beginning of the other live that kind of skipped out on us, I've been seeing sellers withdraw their properties from the market right now just because they've been sitting on the market a long time, and they think that the market's going to pick right back up to where it left off a couple months ago in spring and summer. So, it's going to be pretty interesting. A lot of the houses that you see that are withdrawn, those are the sellers waiting for spring and summertime because that's when a majority of the activity takes place. Christine Lee, what would you do if your client gives a lowball offer like 10% and gets rejected? Christine, do you mean that you're putting in an offer of 10% less than the listed price and it gets rejected? Okay, so Christine said, what would you do if your client gives a lowball offer like 10% and gets rejected? So if we're offering 10% less, I mean, I would just go back to them and kind of see what we would need to do to get it accepted. That doesn't really sound like too much of a lowball offer, but what you need to do is justify why you're offering 10% lower. I've heard people just throw out kind of weird numbers and weird offers before, and I've kind of asked people, well, why are you offering, why are you wanting to offer this amount less? And if you can justify it, then that makes total sense. What I would do is I would look at the comps. I would try to see maybe why they're, not priced correctly and things like that. But yeah, you just need to justify your offer, justify exactly why you're offering 10% less. There's a lot of creative ways to go about kind of doing those offers. You're very welcome. And if you have any, if you want to talk a little bit further about this, let me know. But 10%, I mean, shouldn't really be that bad, especially if the house is sitting on the market for a little while. If it's a new listing or something like that, that's a different story. If a house just comes on the market and somebody's looking to offer 10, 20, 30,000 below, just put yourself in the seller's shoes. If you just put your house on the market 1, 2, 3 weeks ago and somebody offers you, 25K less, think about it. But then again, you got to see kind of the motivation behind it. If a seller is motivated to sell, your agent should try to kind of sniff that out, figure that out pretty quickly in order to kind of get what you need. I just had, oh my goodness, I just had a lot that I just sold in Waxhaw. Oh, such an amazing lot. It's so weird because it's an amazing lot. I didn't even want to sell it. My seller didn't even want to sell it, but he got a job promotion, so we had to put it on the market. And this lot was 1.87 acres, and we listed it for 420,000, and we ended up selling it for 410,000. But something had came up during the process, and the buyers came back and said, "Hey, we want a price decrease of 20,000 to 390." And I mean, I wrote a beautiful email, but it wasn't justifiable. Hey, you knew about XYZ when you guys submitted the offer. Why are you bringing up to us now? We've shared all of our, we've shared the plans. We shared the exact house we were going to build on. And my client was going to build a 10,000 square foot home on this amazing lot. And these buyers for the lot, their home was going to be 6,000 to 7,000 square feet. And I showed them the plans. I said, hey, this is exactly it. They're building a 10,000 square foot house with a pool and a gazebo, and your clients are building a 7,000 square foot house. You're going to have more perimeter, of square footage than my client is. So you're going to have plenty of backyard space. And essentially they're wanting an extra $20,000 off or something like that. Wasn't justifiable at all. After I sent that email, they said, okay, we'll discuss with the buyers. And he never called me back or anything. And we literally just closed Tuesday. Yeah, we closed a day early. We closed on Tuesday. So yeah, offer 10% less, make it justifiable, make it justifiable. Try not to take no for an answer. What I'm gonna start doing on my Instagram, my QC home group, I'm gonna start posting, some deals, because I'm starting to see, like I said, a lot more sellers are starting to price a lot more realistically now. So I'm gonna start posting those listings, and I have a lot of people that are kind of, in and out of the market, so if I see something that comes up that I think they might like, if they're, ready, willing, and able to go now, I have all those people in my mind. So if I see something, I usually just text somebody, hey, I saw this, I was just thinking about you, let me know what you think, XYZ. But I'm going to start posting some of them publicly. Obviously, the other ones I'm going to keep to my tribe, which you guys are my tribe if you're watching this live. I appreciate all you guys watching. Cindy K, I read an article as to the best ways to sell your house, and one tip was to have no evidence of pets in your house. Do you generally think having pets in the home really deter people from buying? Cindy, that's interesting. I would say no. Charlotte is a crazy like pet town. There's the amount of dog-friendly breweries and stuff like that that we have here is pretty insane. I have a dog. I've never, in my personal experience of doing this for just over 5 years now, I've never had an issue with somebody not wanting to buy a house because of because of pets. Um, if you get good cleaners and things like that, it shouldn't be really an issue. Obviously, when you are listing your house, I'd recommend obviously declutter, get it tidied up as much as possible, and get it professionally deep cleaned. Pressure wash if necessary, even on the exterior, all that good stuff. But as far as pet stuff, go to Amazon, buy those little Glad plugins, put them over there, try to kind of mask the smell and things like that. I haven't really had an issue. I had one townhouse that I sold roughly about 6 months or so ago. I actually have a YouTube video on it, and she had cats. I believe she had 3 cats, and at like the lower level of the townhouse where the garage is, you can kind of smell there was some type of animal there and stuff like that. So I got a bunch of those, and I did get, I got the house professionally cleaned for her, but it didn't really do anything to kind of kill the smell. So I put those Glads in there, but the buyers never mentioned anything about that. They never mentioned that it was a problem or anything. But yeah, like I said, get it professionally cleaned. Put those Glad plugins in, not overbearing. Just put some little ones. Light some candles at nighttime or something, or a little bit before the showing. But I have never seen it really deter somebody. Smell. A smell is a lot different than having mold or structural problems or something like that. I'd rather take the smell of animals and me being able to get professional cleaners in there rather than I would a 30-year-old roof. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Any other questions? The market report is going to come out next week, which I'm excited for. It's not going to be any surprise. New listings are going to be going down because of the holidays. So be on the lookout for that. But I'm curious about the prices. The prices have to. Last month they looked a little stagnant, but they have to be coming down now. They have to be coming down now. So I'm very curious. I'm very curious to what it's going to be. Like I said, I give you guys my take on all this stuff, what the people I'm working with and things like that. And it's been amazing. I'm very excited for 2023. I'm very excited where the real estate market is going to go. I think it's going to be great. And I think a lot of people that were priced out during the madness are going to have their opportunity in 2023 and 2024 before we start having, those upticks again. So get, save your money, get those down payments, to where you're comfortable and things like that. Opportunities are coming, and be patient if you have the ability to be patient. Oh, Cindy K, which 55 plus communities in Charlotte area have larger lots and are not cookie cutter houses? Good question. Unfortunately, I don't have the best answer for you. So, in regard 55 plus communities, normally you'll have an HOA attached to those communities, and because they're 55 plus, the HOA usually is going to do your yard work. So, for them to make it make sense for the builder to make a profit on that stuff, they need your house to be on a smaller lot so the landscaping cost doesn't cost too much. So that's number one. Most 55 and older lots are on the smaller side because the monthly HOA covers your lawn service. Number two, not cookie cutter. A lot of the 55 and older are newer construction, which we all know newer construction tends to be a little bit more on the cookie cutter side. Honestly, I can't name a 55 plus community off the top of my head that has bigger lots and isn't cookie cutter. Um, I know that doesn't help, but unfortunately, that's just kind of based off my experience and what I've seen. Like I said, a lot of them smaller lots because the HOA does the lawn service, and they're newer construction, so they tend to be more on the cookie cutter side. I love these questions. These are questions that I wouldn't even think about. I really wouldn't even think about some of these questions, and the fact that you guys are able to bring them out of me, I love it. So thank you for that. I agree with you. There aren't any. Yeah, I really don't. I really don't see any. And that's kind of the thing with the 55 older. You have 55 older like active communities. Some of those communities get a bad rap because you're like, oh, this is like a nursing home. It's not like that at all. Like there's 55 plus communities where like it's a very very active community. So but yeah, unfortunately, it's just it's one of those things. A lot of them are newer construction and small lots. Any other questions you guys have for me? Please let me know. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Like I said, I need to get back posting about neighborhoods and stuff. And if you would like, if there's a certain video you might be interested in me making or something like that, leave it in the comments. I'll take a quick screenshot of it for you, and maybe I can shoot it. I don't shoot extremely specific videos or anything like that, but I generally kind of shoot videos in my favorite neighborhoods and things like that. There's nothing better than working with people that are like the same neighborhoods, like the same type of style of houses that you do and things like that. You just have a good time. Cindy K, thanks for having these live sessions. Very helpful. Cindy, you're very welcome. The first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll have them. So you'll have that at your discretion. And obviously, all my information is linked down below. So any and all of you can always call, text, or email me anytime if you have any other questions. Love to help any way I possibly can. All right, it is 7 o'clock. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you guys on the next one. If I don't talk to you until then, have a very happy and healthy holiday. I hope everybody gets to spend time with their families. I'm going to be going back to Cleveland, Ohio to see my wife's family, my in-laws. So wish me luck. I hope I don't freeze up there. Always get my good dose of snow when I go up there. And it just makes me even more grateful when I come back here to Charlotte. Yeah, I'm never moving back up north. Love it here. Call, text, email me anytime, guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.